The one-eyed queen who made Rome tremble. Amanirenas. Rome had conquered kingdoms across 3 continents, crushed armies, toppled empires, but in the burning deserts south of Egypt, they met someone they could not break. A queen, a warrior, a woman who had already lost one eye in battle, and still refused to kneel. Her name was Amanirenas, and this is the story Rome never expected. Welcome to Echoes and Tales of History by Bright, where forgotten legends rise again. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture a land of golden, towering temples, and a river that gives life to an entire civilization. This is the Kingdom of Kush. Powerful, wealthy, unyielding, and unlike many kingdoms of its time, here, women ruled not from the shadows, but from the throne. To understand Amanirenas, you must first understand the storm that was coming. In the north, a new force had risen. The Roman Empire, under Augustus Caesar, was no longer just a republic. It was becoming something far more dangerous. An empire hungry for dominance. Egypt had already fallen. Its wealth now fed Rome's endless ambition. But beyond Egypt lay Kush, a kingdom Rome underestimated, a mistake they would soon regret. Amanirenas was not born into a peaceful era. Her rule was forged in tension, in conflict, in the constant shadow of invasion. She was a Candake, a queen mother. But don't let the title fool you. This was no ceremonial role. Candakes commanded armies, led nations, and decided the fate of their people. And Amanirenas, she was different. She didn't wait for war to arrive at her gates. She prepared for it. It began with a demand. Rome wanted tribute, submission, control, but Amanirenas saw through it. This wasn't diplomacy, it was domination. And so, she made a choice that would echo through history. She said no, not just with words, but with action. In a bold and calculated strike, her forces surged north into Roman-controlled Egypt. Cities like Aswan fell under Kushite attack. Temples at Philly trembled. Roman statues were torn down. Their power humiliated. But one act stood above the rest. A bronze head of Augustus was captured. Not destroyed, not melted, but buried beneath a temple doorway. So that every step taken into that sacred place was a step on Rome itself. It was more than rebellion. It was a message. We are not afraid. Rome was furious. They sent Gaius Petronius south with a clear mission. Crush Kush. Burn resistance. Restore Roman dominance. But Rome's response was predictable and swift. Gaius Petronius, the prefect of Egypt, marched south with 10,000 legionaries. He was a man of iron and order, and his mission was simple: total subjugation. The fall of Napata, Petronius pushed deep into the heart of Kush, eventually sacking the holy city of Napata. The attrition of the sands. While Rome won the set-piece battles, they could not win the environment. The Kushite warriors utilized the harsh terrain of the Nile's cataracts and the blistering desert as their greatest allies. Even though at first, it seemed Rome would succeed. Cities had fallen. Lives were lost. The war had turned brutal. The Candake's wound. During the brutal fighting, Amanirenas was reportedly blinded in one eye by a Roman arrow. In a display of terrifying resolve, she did not retreat. She remained on the front lines, a one-eyed queen leading a resistance that refused to break. Even at the Amanirenas did something extraordinary. She did not panic. She adapted. Amanirenas played her hand perfectly. She didn't need to destroy the Roman army. She only needed to make the cost of victory more expensive than the value of the land. She turned the land itself into a weapon. Her forces struck quickly, then vanished into terrain Rome didn't understand. Supply lines were stretched. Morale began to crack. Rome was fighting an enemy they could not predict, led by a queen who refused to surrender. Even after losing an eye in battle, she stood at the front, unshaken, unbowed. And then, something unthinkable happened. Rome, the empire that crushed nations without hesitation, paused. Because this war, it wasn't worth it anymore. Petronius soon realized he was in a forever war. His supply lines were stretched thin, his soldiers were dying of heat and thirst, and the Kushites were masters of guerrilla tactics, striking from the dunes and vanishing before the heavy infantry could form ranks. The war was too costly, too difficult, too uncertain. So Amanirenas did what few dared to do. She reached out. Not in surrender, but in negotiation. Envoys were sent to Augustus Caesar himself, and what followed was nothing short of extraordinary. A peace treaty. But not the kind Rome usually offered. The peace treaty signed in 21 BCE wasn't the kind Rome usually dictated at the edge of a sword. Typically, the Roman machine left behind two things: a governor and a massive tax bill. But for the Kingdom of Kush, the terms were different. No tribute was demanded from Mero. No Roman boots remained on Kushite soil. A demilitarized buffer zone was established, essentially granting Kush a level of sovereignty almost unheard of on the empire's frontiers. Rome stepped back. Let that sink in. At the height of its power, Rome was forced to respect a kingdom it tried to dominate. Because of one woman, Amanirenas didn't just defend her land. She redefined resistance. She proved that power isn't just about size or numbers. Psychological warfare, geographic strategy, courage and the will never to kneel. History often obsesses over the maps of empires, painted in the singular colors of the victors. But the greatest stories, the ones that truly pulse with human spirit, belong to those who stood at the edge of the map and said, "No further." Amanirenas didn't just win a war, she preserved a culture that would thrive for centuries after the Roman Empire crumbled into the dust. If this story moved you, subscribe to Echoes and Tales of History by Bright, because there are many more voices still waiting to be heard.